You loathe and despise bar chords of every shape and size. Let me give a few options for those of you whom this describes. Yes, you should work on your bar chords because yes, they are extremely useful, but yes, there are workarounds for those of you who refuse to play them. I have 5 options I'm going to share with you quickly. Let's get to it. Number 1. Use a capo. Capos are quite useful, and they are something that is mostly unique to guitar, right? You can't capo a piano. With a capo, you can essentially avoid playing in keys that you don't like. And what that means is, say you don't like the key of A because A often uses an F sharp minor or a B minor. Say you don't want to play an A, well, that's what the capo's for. You can put a capo on the 2nd fret and play in the key of G. Now your F sharp minor became an E minor, and your B minor became an A minor. Notice they sound exactly like they did in the key of A because my bar has been taken over by the capo. The capo is essentially an invention to make people not have to do bar chords. And now your E minors and A minors and your Gs and all those will sound like they're in the key of A. So you can play songs in the key of A, but you don't have to do any bar chords. Pretty fantastic. I'm not going to do a deep dive here onto how exactly to use a capo, when to use it. I will be probably saving that for another video. Leave a comment if that's something that interests you. But I will just say that using a capo is a great way to avoid bar chords if you really don't want to play them. Number 2. Learn alternate chord shapes. If you've been following my channel for any time at all now, you know that I love alternate chord shapes. And not just because they're easier to play, although that is a nice perk, but because they're less common and therefore more interesting, in my opinion, to the ear. And in many cases, I think they sound better because they tend to use open strings, which bar chords by definitions do not use. Open strings ring out more, are more resonant, and sound very pleasing to the ear. If you want to see some great alternate shapes like this, go watch my videos on playing in the key of G, lots of alternate shapes there, playing in the key of D, lots of shapes there, lots of cool ways to play. 2 different videos, I'll link them in the description below this one. When it comes to bar chords, so many of the standard bar chords such as F, B minor, B major, C sharp minor, right? Many of those have alternate shapes that are simpler and can be used as a replacement for the bar. So that is a great option for avoiding bar chords. Learn alternate chord shapes. Number 3, use your thumb to fret. Now this one is going to be controversial. I know that there are plenty of thumb haters out there who think that it should be made illegal to use your thumb for fretting. I personally have found it to be extremely useful. And for me, using the thumb to fret bass notes in a lot of cases is actually more comfortable than doing the bar. And in many cases is actually quicker to get your thumb up there than to get the whole bar up there. Let me show you what I mean. Instead of playing an F chord like this, you can take your thumb here and play it like this. Okay, if you don't like doing the bar, if it hurts your thumb to press against the board or it hurts your finger to bar, you can just play it here. Other ways that the thumb makes things interesting, watch what happens if I take an A bar chord and use my thumb here. Now it frees up my index. I can actually leave an open E string with the index there on the B string and have double E. That's kind of a cool sound. Or you could take your index down here one and have an open B string here and play. Kind of interesting. Wouldn't use that one all the time, but once in a while maybe. Okay, I can do the same thing here. I did a video where I used my thumb here. That's a C right there. Instead of doing a bar chord C, which in my opinion sounds a little choked because there's no open strings, I can take my thumb here, my index down here, and have an open E string, open G string, which I think sounds very full and resonant. I personally like that sound. So the thumb makes it possible to do bar chords, specifically bar chords that use the E string, and you can use your thumb instead and not have to do bar chords. Your 4th option is to leave out bass notes of chords. There's always the option to leave out the bass notes of a chord, especially if you're playing with a band, right? This works great if you have a band, if you've got a bassist or a keyboardist who's going to take the bass notes. Not everybody needs to play the low end stuff, right? You can just take the high stuff. Say your chart shows to play an F sharp minor, but you don't like bar chords. You can just play from the D string down like this. Still got to have a little mini bar here, but you can play this and let your bassist take that low F, right? You don't have to play all the notes. This used to be really popular. It still is used, but back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, players would often, in jazz music, I mean, it's still common, but players would often just play a few notes. Or reggae music, right? So just playing a few notes is an option, leaving out the bass notes altogether. Let's do another one. Instead of playing, say, a B minor, I could just play these 3 strings. Or add one more. And the bass player or the keyboardist could take that, B. So if you don't like bar chords, just don't play the bass notes. Number 5, only play pop songs in the key of G. This last option is mostly a joke, but if you really do hate bar chords, don't have a capo on you, don't know alternate chords, don't know how to leave out the bass notes, don't want to use your thumb, you can just play pop songs in the key of G. Plenty of songs out there that are in the key of G that only use 4 chords, G, C, E minor, and D. Find those, play in the key of G. Unless they throw you a B minor, then you're in trouble. Unless you know the alternate shape for the B minor, or there's lots of them, right? But key of G, G, C, E minor, D, you'll be in good shape. No bar chords there. There you go, 5 ways to avoid playing bar chords if you just hate them. Come on, plenty of ways to dance around the devil. If you enjoyed this, make sure to check out my channel and the other guitar tips, tricks, and tutorials I have on there, and I will see you on the next video.